Welcome to Fox Car Report. I'm Gary Gastelou. NASCAR season kicking off this weekend. With us today, three-time NASCAR championship winning crew chief Ray Evernham was also the host of Americana on Velocity Channel. Thanks for dropping by. You won 3 championships with Jeff Gordon. He announced his retirement this year, leaving the sport at the age of 44, which really isn't that old for a really good race car driver. You think it's the right time for him?
Well, Gary, Jeff and I had conversations about this long ago, and when he said, I don't see myself doing this at 50. And I think what you're starting to see in NASCAR is the same thing that happens in other sports. These guys are starting so young now. You know, we're getting drivers arriving on the NASCAR scene that are 18, 19, 20 years old that have tons of experience from doing short track racing and other things. And now you don't have to have that book and that experience and all these connections. You know, you come, you know, the cars are highly technical like a Formula One or an Indy car now, and these young guys can go fast. So when you're 40, 45 years old and have had as much success as Jeff Gordon has had, I think these guys are thinking about it. And right now, if you listen to Jeff, he talked about wanting to spend more time with his family, and let's face it, his back has been a problem the past couple of years, and I think he wants to enjoy a quality of life. So as much as I hate to see him go, maybe the right time for him.
Jeff's raced through a lot of different versions of NASCAR over the years. These days we've got new cars and the new chase format. Do you think it takes a new type of driver to be successful today, or do some of these guys with the old-time NASCAR experience, they still got what it takes?
I think they've got what it takes, but they've got to adapt. Can't drive today's cars like he drove the cars that I built for him in the 1990s. These cars have much lower center of gravity, a lot more horsepower, and a lot more downforce. Back then we relied a lot on mechanical grip and springs and shocks and things like that. Now it's all about getting that car nailed down on the racetrack. When you got a driver the quality of a Jeff Gordon, Dale Jr., Jimmy Johnson, people like that, they can adapt. But it makes it easier, I think, for the younger guys to come in with all that downforce and have engineers setting these cars up now, rather than relying on the driver to tell them, hey, I need this or I need that, which is something that a Jeff Gordon and a Jimmy Johnson, Dale Jr., those guys are really good at that.
You retired as a crew chief several years ago. You missed the tour at all?
I do. I don't miss the 200 days a year on the road, but I do miss the game. There's nothing like being on top of that box on Sunday when that caution comes out, making those adjustments and watching the pit crew go over the wall. We had a great pit crew when I was with Jeff Gordon. And when you get to work with a guy like Jeff Gordon, it'd be like being on a team with Tom Brady or somebody like that. When you're working with such a great leader, you know, it was really an honor just to work with him.
You do still get around America and look at cars, though, with your new show, Americana. It's not a build show. It's not a racing show. It's kind of like archaeology for automobiles, right?
Yeah, it's a car culture show. It connects that emotion, right? We've all got an emotional connection with a car, and we find incredible stories. And you know, we visited the last car that Elvis ever drove, and that led us to an old van that he used to sneak in and out of Graceland with. We've done things on fiberglass cars and the first Mustang, and everybody you talk to has some kind of an emotional connection with a car. When you look at the effect that it's had on us, the music that we listen to. We've had, you know, Mike Love and the Beach Boys on the show, and Jerry Horton and Papa Roach. You know, there's a huge spread across that culture.
This year, you're going to be looking at some of Jeff's cars, I think. Mario Andretti's in 1965 Indy 500 car as well. But tell me about this Elvis van. It's an old Chevy panel van that you found in his warehouse?
Yeah, we were doing a show, again, on the last car that Elvis drove the night that he passed away, drove into Graceland. And we bumped into a maintenance guy at Graceland and said, well, that's not the car you want to see. This is the one you want to see. I was like, what, really? So they take us to a warehouse that's closed to the public that has a ton of Elvis's artifacts in it. They uncover this old panel van. On the dashboard, still in Elvis's handwriting or the radio stations, and he actually snuck in and out of Graceland in disguise driving this old panel van.
Used to have, and this is back in the 70s. We're not even talking when he was a young fella. This is when he was near the end.
Oh, yeah, we're talking 60s and 70s. This thing has been around Graceland since Elvis bought it.
Did the folks in Memphis know about it? Did they see the van and say, oh, there's Elvis sneaking around, or did he pull it off?
They said that he pulled it off so well that one day he broke down, and he was on the road for about an hour because even the people from Graceland were driving right on by him.
That's an amazing story. It really is. And I imagine you got a lot more stories like that on the show this year.
We do, and those stories pop up again all the time. Everybody we meet has an incredible story about a car or the technology that inspired them. And I always tell everybody, look, I know the phones are technology now, but you never wrote a love song about your phone. And there's plenty of love songs about cars. So there's an emotional connection.
Nothing better than digging around in garages and barns. Ray Evernham, thanks so much for joining us today. Americana, Tuesday nights on the Velocity Channel. If you want more automotive news and reviews, head on over to foxcarreport.com. We'll see you next time.